We are Popcorn, Piss, and Vinegar, giving you a raw take on movies, television, and pop culture. My name's Chris.
My name's Scott!
Before.
Fuck. G to the Rizzo.
That's it. Hey, Gary Rucker here again, proprietor, actor, director at the Rivertown Theaters in Canberra.
Thanks, man.
That's it.
Great to be back.
Welcome back.
This is Gary's, 51st appearance on the show?
Something like that. We need to get him a robe of some kind.
I ordered a smoking jacket.
Excellent. Perfect.
And we're here to settle some type of dispute between you and the Ginger. You say all the way from high school?
This is all the way from high school, and it has nothing to do with movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we get this out of the way before we dive into movies? I can tell you right now, if I'm to preside as the judge over this hearing, you already won.
I just need. I would like the two of you to tell me what sounds more plausible, because we're never gonna get Scott to admit that he's wrong about anything. We accept that, right?
Yes.
All right. So here's what happens. All right. So the other day, Scott had a picture on Instagram, I guess, and he had on an AC/DC T-shirt.
It was for Ginger and the Bee.
Yeah.
Yes.
That band. So, when Scott and I were in high school, we went to high school together. We went to an AC/DC concert together. Okay?
Would that be the Money Talks concert from 1991?
It was I know what it is. Do you remember what it was?
The Money...
where they dropped the dollar bills out of the ceiling? That's the one I went to.
No. Do you remember what it was?
No, it was the one...
So your memories are shit. You're admitting that, right?
Wait, hold on. Wait, because AC/DC at the time was a very working band. So in Scott's defense,
I did see the Money Talks. I did see the Money Talks.
It might have been Thunderstruck.
It was for Heat Seeker.
I also saw Heat Seeker.
And the only reason I remember that is because Angus Young, his
White Lion opened the show. Is that why?
No, Angus Young came out of the floor in a giant heat-seeking missile.
Okay.
Like that was his entrance, and he kicked the door open and like jumped out and started jamming. Now here's the thing, I like AC/DC and I knew their hits, but I wasn't like the biggest AC/DC fan.
So you knew the big hits and you didn't know the deep tracks.
Exactly. So like I knew kind of what I was in for. They were my friends. They were all going, so I just wanted to go.
So you wanted
get
to
out of the house
to be with your pals.
Right. Exactly.
Even though he's going to bust your balls over the next 30 years.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
So because at the time it was worth hanging out with Scott on a regular basis. All right. So what happens is it's in the middle of the concert, right? And they kind of took it down a little bit and started playing like this slow groove, right?
Okay.
And I'd never heard this song before in my life. And it was like this anthem that suddenly everyone was like chanting. They were all chanting the same lines together, right?
Okay.
And I'd never heard this song before and I had no idea what they were chanting. So this dude next to me who I'd kind of made friends with, I was like, what is everybody chanting? I don't know this song. And the dude goes, "Oh, she's got the jack." And I was like, "Oh, all right." Everyone was like chanting it along like you do apparently when that song comes on, right?
Okay.
So I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I was like, after that, I was like, "Oh, I can like sing along with this song." So we leave the concert. I go home, and in my closet, my dad had given me like a bunch of old tapes. And in the old tapes he'd given me was an AC/DC tape with that song on it.
Okay.
It's the only reason I know what that song is because I heard it live at the concert and had no idea what they were saying.
Okay.
Asshole swears they never played that song at the concert.
Well, come on, dude. How the fuck do you get us to judge that?
No, I'm saying like that's been our rivalry for the past 30 years. How else would I even have heard that song in my life without hearing it live in that moment?
I mean, okay, so I mean, you're saying that they did play it. I mean,
Right.
all right. So Scott, what is your argument of why they didn't play this? Gary says that he has no knowledge of.
I remember being with fellow people who I went to that show with and going, "They didn't play the jack." I'm like, no, they didn't play the jack. Like fellow metalheads.
Now, back in the day, Scott's defense was he had read an article or heard an interview or something where someone in AC/DC said that they hadn't played that song. But I don't know what the context was, like at that concert, or they hadn't played it for a while. But thanks to the internet, you can now like Wikipedia.
Look up set list.
It's on there.
Probably.
Oh, it is.
Oh, wait. Did you go to the New Orleans? You found the New Orleans set list from that show?
From that tour.
Oh, from that tour, and it's on there?
Yes.
Oh, well, fuck. Then I mean,
set list from that tour, not the New Orleans show.
Well, this is the tour. This is what they were playing on that tour, and they came to New Orleans.
All right,
look,
so
you have anecdotal evidence of how.
But I've never heard that song in my life.
Well, you've got no real reason to make that up. That's a weird thing to just.
Okay, right.
So
So that's that. All right, Scott. Now let me ask you this question: did you consume a lot of alcohol that night?
No.
No, we were in high school.
I was in high school.
So
okay.
All right.
88, 89, no.
Oh, okay. Did you smoke any marijuana cigarettes that night?
No.
Okay.
So his basic defense is nuh-uh.
So that's Scott's basic defense is nuh-uh.
Right.
And Gary's defense is that
I wish I could have called the witnesses to this because I could have done, or I could phone a friend.
Who's your witness?
I'm not. No, it's over. It's over at this point.
Well, who do you know? So you have people that will back you up that song was not played.
Yes.
Okay, so what I would like for you to do is
credible people.
Credible. I mean,
as credible as the guy who doesn't know any ACDC song, wears the T-shirt to the show, and then claims to know a song that's never been heard before by you that they played it. Yeah, credible.
Okay.
It was on Wikipedia, though.
Of course it was.
So Scott,
I got to take my jacket off.
When
Jesus Christ.
When you see this person who is your credible witness, is there any way that you can record this testimony on your iPhone and put it into this show?
Yes.
Okay.
Can't wait.
All right.
I know who he's talking about.
The battle continues.
It's not at all credible.
This is not.
Who is this? It's got to be Lance Sherlock, right?
Well, that would be one of my witnesses. Of course, he was there.
He was there, yeah. You're relying on Lance Sherlock's memory. Who else? Who's the other one? I can't think of who else was there. Your brother?
Mark. No, Foray.
All right. Yeah, I'm still.
Is Mark Foray credible?
Yes.
We know Lance isn't credible. No, I'm fucking around. Okay.
Anyway,
so that's been our battle.
So that's been the battle. Okay. Well,
since
I'll tell you
high school. How long ago was that?
88.
Yeah.
Every now and again, I happen to step into Step Brothers, and when I see Lance, I will personally ask Lance about this story so we can settle this fucking shit once and for all.
It's gotta be.
Put it to bed.
If
he's playing with us, Ginger and the Bee are playing at June 9th in Metairie. If y'all all would like to
June
come.
9th in Metairie, what venue?
Twist the Lime.
Okay, fucking
We're opening for an Iron Maiden bluegrass band.
All right, I'm going to bring protest signs.
There it is. And we can all ask Lance.
Hang on
We can do it live.
On set
Typical. Typical is in...
Wait.
Typical is in parentheses. They typically...
But your defense back in the day was that they never played it.
Listen to me. On setlist.fm, AC/DC August 7th, 1988 setlist, Kiefer UNO Lakefront Arena, New Orleans. The Jack is number 9.
Oh! All right, it's settled then. I mean, if you got the evidence, there it is.
And the encore was Highway to Hell, TNT, and For Those About to Rock.
There you go.
Do you concede?
Nope.
God. I knew that before I asked it.
Freelopedia.
Yeah, right. Freelopedia. The fucking
Gingerpedia.
The slogan is fucking deny.
It's whatheremembers.com.
If you're not me, fuck you.
Whatheadmits.com.
Right. Thank you, John, for your quick fingers.
There you go.
I'm taking this as a victory, whether
look, the court of PPV, the honorable John Fitzgerald Byer and dishonorable Christopher J. Tyree rule in your favor. I mean, dude, if it's there it is. I mean, nothing on it. I mean,
everything on the internet is absolutely true.
Here we go. Oh my God!
It's the authenticity of the anecdote.
I have so many specific memories from that night, and that's one of them. I'd never heard that song. And I hadn't heard it since until he brought it up, and I YouTubed it.
Between what you just said and what John F. Byer just looked up, yeah, I mean that pretty much holds it down. I mean,
I'm getting this date tattooed on my arm.
There you go. Then Scott really will be like, "Yeah, I knew the whole time."
And there's nothing against Scott. As much as I love to bust Scott's balls, I mean, dude, really, honestly, I mean, come on, fuck, there it is.
It's right there. You know who I feel really sorry for, other than Scott? The listeners at this point. Who don't give a shit about it.
Right. Yeah. All right, let's talk about other stuff they don't give a shit about. All right, so look, trailers. John and I checked out a couple of trailers. Did anybody see the trailer for Mowgli?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Dude, this is an Andy Serkis joint.
Right, it's like the other Jungle Book.
And if you don't know who Andy Serkis is, he's the guy who is probably the biggest mocap guy in Hollywood, motion capture. I mean, he played Gollum. He played recently Supreme Leader Snoke in the new Star Wars movies.
He's Caesar in Planet of the Apes.
He was Caesar in Planet of the Apes, and also he played Ulysses Claw in Black Panther and in Captain America: Civil War. So I mean, he's got a lot of big credits, and in addition to a bunch of other stuff that he's been in. And he's directed this movie, and man, this cast, I mean, is fucking serious, man.
He's in it too, right?
Yeah, he's in it. Also, Christian Bale is in it.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch. Your boy Sean Bean, Lord Stark, he's in it.
Who's he play?
He plays Bagheera, so that means he's going to die.
About to say.
So, yeah, Naomi Watts, she's in it. So it's a whole bunch of actors that are extremely British. If we would have got Tom Hardy, it would have been more British than ever.
Yeah,
But-
this was supposed to come out a year ago, but they postponed it because of
Right.
the Favreau one.
And the
Exactly.
I thought the Favreau movie was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
This looks really good. Like I want to go see this.
It
you
looks
think-
dark.
Yeah. Do you think that they made some changes after they saw the Favreau one? Do you think it?
I think so.
Probably.
I think so. And one thing I noticed in this movie, or what I got from this movie, I didn't see it in the trailer. I got from this that there isn't going to be any song singing in this movie.
Yeah, no, there's
They
not.
say it's a really dark telling, and I think that this is going to be very close to probably Rudyard Kipling's book.
Yeah.
Going to be very close to
I
it.
think it's PG-13.
Wouldn't
If,
surprise me. It looks pretty intense.
Bill Murray was a great.
I
Bullet,
didn't.
though.
I thought
was.
that Jungle Book movie, the Favreau one, looked really, really, really good. Like the animals look. I don't find that this one looks as convincing
I agree with you, Scott.
as that.
I
mean, it
agree
might
with you
be
on
a
the
good-looking
wolves.
movie, but
the wolves
yeah.
I didn't like.
You know, if you're gonna do
But do you
animals,
think they're
do
done
'em.
with it, or do you think there's still some cleaning up they're going to do?
Could be.
Possible.
But I remember like the first Jungle Book trailer that dropped. It's like, wow, that's that looked awesome. Like the animals all looked really good. This just doesn't look as
I think
convincing.
the snake looks more menacing and cooler and well rendered than the one in the Disney version.
Yeah.
For what that's worth. But
but that's probably
coyotes-
for a reason, because you don't want to scare a bunch of kids.
In the Disney one, you mean?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Disney
It was
version.
pretty scary though.
Yeah, it was scary, but I find it was really throwaway. The scene with Ka, the snake.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as integral as it was to the animated version, and what appears to be in this one.
Right.
So
Exactly.
It made me very excited about Lion King.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't wait for that.
yeah, which is going to be another one that I think is going to probably utilize that same type of animation that we saw in the Favreau version. So
Oh, sure.
yeah, another trailer we're talking about also is the Happy Time Murders. Did anybody see
Oh,
the trailer
yeah.
for this?
No
Hilarious.
idea what this is.
It's cool.
It's think of it, it's a cop movie, but it's I would describe it as, of what I've seen in this trailer, it's Avenue Q meets Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, it's very Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
It's Muppets, but it's R-rated, so it's going to kind of
Melissa McCarthy's in it.
take, like I said, Avenue Q meets Who Framed Roger Rabbit, to an extent meets Ted. So I think it's like kind of all three of that concept. I mean, it looks funny. I mean, it's got the
Henson's kid directed it,
yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah.
yeah. It's actually a guy who directed the last 3 Muppet movies. It was
Yeah.
Muppet Treasure Island and the last 2, the Muppets in Space, and the Muppet movie, the revitalized one
Right.
for
That's-
Disney.
But that's his kid, right?
Yeah. Jim Henson Jr., I believe, directed those 3 movies. So, yeah, but it's pretty fucking crazy, man. I mean, just the way they have that, they got it looks like it's full board with Muppets. It says "No Sesame, All Street" was the
Right.
name of the was the tagline for it. So
And I know people either like Melissa McCarthy or don't, but
I don't.
I thought
I
she was
don't
pretty
either.
funny in the trailer. Yeah. She's doing the things she
Agreed.
does, and if you like that,
Yeah.
I liked her in Bridesmaids, and then after I saw Bridesmaids, I was like, oh, I get it. She's the same character in every movie.
you know what's funny?
That's
And
somewhat
she wasn't
gross.
as self-aware in Bridesmaids. Her performance was pretty honest, and
Well-
now it's like, oh,
Well,
Yeah.
actually, there's a movie coming out that's based on a true story where she's an author that finds these letters in old books and then sort of expounds on them, like adds stuff and sells them for a shitload of money.
I
So
have
she
no
kind of
idea.
counterfeit, like, it looks good.
I haven't seen that.
And
Yeah, the birds are back.
Yeah.
what's the name of Richard? He's the English guy that was in Hudson Hawk.
Oh
The
God,
villain you
Jesus.
Oh fuck, I can't even remember.
yeah. Anyway, it looks good, and it looks like she's not doing the typical Melissa McCarthy shtick.
Well, once
So,
you become a comedy actor, you have to start getting those serious roles. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
like,
not that she
like-
can't do it; she's just not called upon to do it.
It's like the Jim Carrey thing, which that motherfucker has lost his mind.
I'm gonna say it's.
I don't know what happened.
It's like
to
the
him.
Bill Hader thing, because you see that guy and you're like, oh, he's the romantic lead or the romantic whatever, or he's the funny Bill Hader guy. But then you
Right.
see him in Barry and you're like, oh,
But Bill Hader,
Shit.
Bill Hader to me has always been a really down to earth personality.
Oh.
He's a good actor.
When Jim, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
When Jim Carrey first hit the scene, everything was wackadoo, and he
Yeah.
kind of had these memorable type of things, and then all of a sudden something happened to him to where he's got that glassed over look in his eyes. He's a crazy motherfucker.
Yeah,
He
his
really is.
his artwork's pretty fantastic. Do you watch documentary now?
I haven't.
Oh, it's great. But Bill Hader is amazing in it. Yeah, he's really good.
What? In what?
Documentary
Oh,
now.
God. Hilarious.
It's really. It's one of those things I just put on in my house. It's really great.
I went to
Their Vice send-up is a scream.
Yeah.
I went to Las Vegas last week on the honeymoon, and when
Are you married?
yeah, I sure am.
Well, congrats.
Thank you so much.
I had no idea.
We went through the whole Vegas experience and everything, and we went to one of the malls, and they had a gallery there, and Carrie's artwork, the original artwork, was on.
up?
Yeah, it was on display. I didn't look at it. I was too busy trying to get to the fucking Toll House booth and eat some chocolate chip cookies, you know, because I've never seen that shit in my life, you know.
Right.
That intrigued me way more than some shit
Yeah.
that fucking Jim Carrey painted.
Man knows what he likes.
That's right.
Yeah,
Richard
right.
Grant,
I
by
was
the
like,
way.
oh look, the guy who was possessed by Andy Kaufman. Fuck him. Oh, Toll House. So
Ooh,
it's pretty much
cookies.
kind of how I felt.
Right.
So yeah, but
What other news you got?
yeah, let's get into the actual news now. Now that our trailer is completely like fucking U-turned into something else.
Scott's like, fuck this show. Let's get.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about Star Wars. We're a few days away. By the time you listen to this, we might be pretty much right at the release of Solo: A Star Wars Story, which is the movie based on young Han Solo. It's a movie that's just been plagued by all kinds of production stuff with fired directors and people taking over, and now the reviews are coming in, and the reviews are about in the middle.
Yeah.
So,
Really? Okay.
this is probably about I'm wondering that this is going to. I'd have to go look back at some of the prequel stuff, but I'm wondering if this is probably the most in the middle review among critics.
Yeah.
You know,
When I was sitting in the car waiting to be let in, there was a guy who I like on Twitter, and he said he had just seen it, and he said it's not that it's a bad movie. There's some great sequences. It just didn't like touch him the way the Star Wars movies usually do. Like it just didn't. He didn't feel it. But it's not that it's
And that's
not
how
enjoyable.
I felt about Rogue One.
yeah. I mean,
Anyway.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's how you feel. I mean, none of us feel that way about that movie.
Right.
But I mean, dude,
We all
you
disagree,
like what
but
you
we're
like.
too polite to say it.
No, but I mean, but you like what you like, man. I
Yeah.
mean, what I've heard about this movie and what the overwhelming kind of in the middle review is, the movie starts extremely slow. And then when they finally meet the Lando character, it kind of takes off from there.
But from the beginning, I'm like, we all already know what this movie's gonna
Yep.
be. Like, here's all the little checkpoints that we have to. So I think it's gonna be a little slow because we already know the results of everything.
I'm invested in Star Wars. I will go see every Star Wars
Oh, I'm
movie.
going, yeah.
But you can go
Yeah,
back to
totally.
listen to any of these fucking shows, and I've said it from the beginning when they announced Episode 7, when they announced spin-off movies. Do something new.
Right.
I'm tired of this old shit. And speaking of old shit, we're right back in it. Look, they're talking that secretly the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie is already into production. They're saying
wow.
that they've been
Yeah.
keeping everything real close to the chest. They say McGregor has been around England and sporting the beard and all that stuff.
Well, that's good.
The rumors is that they're going to keep Obi-Wan on Tatooine looking after Luke, and he gets embroiled in a war between the Tusken Raiders and the farmers of Tatooine. Why do you need this movie? Why?
Wait, you don't. But here's the thing: if you're gonna do it, at least it's not. We already know the outcome of this story. I mean, they live, but we've never seen this adventure with Solo. It's like, all right, they're gonna make the Kessel Run. Wonder what happens. We already know what happens.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, even with Obi-Wan Kenobi, though, I mean, I know what his fate is, and man, if you pay attention and you follow what they've done with this character, I mean, to me, it gets to the point, the expanded universe, it's like it gets to the point to where, let's see what happened to Obi-Wan this week.
Yeah.
And this happened to him the next week. And the week after that, this happened to him.
Yeah, I don't think we need it, but they're gonna do it. So if they're gonna do it, I'd rather
Well,
watch what I don't already know about.
And
Yeah.
and yet, who is the biggest evangelist of the Star Wars Clone Wars and Obi-Wan's appearance in
Oh,
Rebels?
yeah,
you know?
me. I
Like,
mean, dude, look, I love that stuff. I mean, but I like stuff like that where they come in and they say, okay, well, look, we brought back Darth Maul. We brought back that character in Clone Wars. And we want to finish that character's story arc by having him face Obi-Wan. As far as I'm concerned, man, with Obi-Wan Kenobi, he's fulfilling his destiny. I think something like that's good. But I mean, to sit there and say, man, to make an entire movie about all this little unimportant bullshit.
Would you rather it be a TV show?
I'd rather it be nothing. I don't want to see anything about any of these old characters. I want to see him do something new. If you want to go in the past, do it. The movie that, if I had my pick and they came to me, there's a big old scene in Rebels where they find this Sith temple where there was a war between the Jedi and the Sith. That was like their final showdown.
Right. Show
before
that.
the Sith got all fucking burned up and all. Show me that. Show me that battle. Show me why there's a rule of two. Show me why there's only two Sith Lords.
Yeah.
Why is there only a master and apprentice? What led them to that path?
But do you think they're depending on the success of Solo and the Obi-Wan movie to get to that kind of stuff?
No.
No, I think Star Wars is a fucking cash register. That's all I think it is.
Yes.
It's a cash register. But the problem with it is, and I promised I would not go on this rant, but this is what it comes down to.
And yet here we are.
Yet here we are. Star Wars has problems right now. It's got bad problems. Its toy sales have plummeted into the fucking toilet. It is probably the least selling brand out of all of their merchandise line between Pixar, Marvel, everything.
There's so much of it.
Star Wars was the fucking god emperor of fucking action figures. It invented that three-quarter style with vehicles and play sets. It launched all that shit when it first came out.
Yeah.
Now it's a whimper. You can bring the whole thing of, oh, well, kids don't play with toys anymore. Bullshit.
They play with toys.
They play with fucking toys.
Well, the other thing, too, is
absolutely do.
And so do adults.
The adult collector's market, I was about to say, is like, back in the day, it was all like a consistent line. Now it's like, it's all over the place. So adult collectors are turned off by it because they don't know what to collect.
I think another problem, too, is that Star Wars, they are eliminating, they're trying to make Star Wars for everybody. It already is for everybody. You just need to keep it the way it is and not fuck with it.
Right.
And I'm just going to go into this without going into any detail. Identity politics is fucking killing Star Wars. It is.
He literally said before the show, we're not going to talk about it.
Fuck it. I'm pissed off about it. Identity politics is killing Star Wars. And you can say, look, I'm not talking about the random fanboys that are fucking pissed off and just like spewing vile all over the internet. I'm talking about people with realistic fucking points that sit there and say, look, this is the reason why things are fucked up. And, I mean, they're pretty much echoing what's obvious. People don't want to see this shit, man. They want to see the mythic hero's journey. They don't give a fuck about traditional science fiction of it being the traditional social commentary.
Right.
They want it told as a Western. They want it as a mythology. That's what they want. They're changing it into something different, and it's driving the fans off.
Right.
That's basically what it is. So,
Yet it'll probably make a fuck ton of money.
And yet we'll all see it.
it'll
Right.
make a fuck ton of
So,
money, but I
you know.
can tell you right now, if The Last Jedi would have been well received compared to being an in the middle response to what it was, bullshit. That movie, I guarantee you, would have made $2 billion. Would have made $2 billion. It did not have the repeat view. It went down. They said if you take Star Wars, now this movie is coming off of The Force Awakens, which is huge, coming off of that shit. It comes off of Rogue One, which was a movie that only showed cameos from one main character, Darth Vader, that had a little 5-second cameo. Even though Scott didn't like this movie,
Nope.
this movie made $1.6 billion that featured no recognizable characters. Coming off of that high, you had a movie that only made almost a little bit more than Rogue One.
Well, it's funny because I've watched Force Awakens and Rogue One at my house, and I haven't watched Last Jedi.
I've only watched Last Jedi at the theater. I saw it 2 times in the theater, and I haven't even watched it at my house.
Yeah, and I pre-ordered it, and I just haven't.
Yep.
Interestingly, I really liked Last Jedi up until someone pointed out what was at the time a really cool scene where they warp into the Star Destroyer. That because I watched that web series Because Science. Like basically, the physics of that are such that pretty much if that's a thing, then they could have taken out the Death Star by warping something into it. Like light speed's destructive force is like a baseball going light speed hitting anything will hit with the eruptive force of Krakatoa, literally. So if you put a ship through the Death Star, done. So I was like, oh, that wasn't really thought out.
Yeah. And that's just some of the problems. I think the real problem of what it comes down to is story, and that's what people really want. They want the hero's journey.
Right.
They don't want identity fucking politics put up on the screen.
You need a hero that you really want to get behind and a villain you kind of love.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
and that's it, and that's the reason why. Darth Vader. Darth Vader was a vile son of a bitch, but when you watch The Empire Strikes Back, you have to sit there.
Love him. Yeah,
you just love that character so much because he's so goddamn evil.
By the way, Krakatoa was my stripper name. So.
Oh wow!
Glad you brought that up.
That would have been my fourth guess for you.
Mine was Mercedes Benz over. All right, so we ready to go? All right. Just when you thought you forgot about Justice League, Zack Snyder is back to remind us how his version would have been better.
Oh fuck it.
He confirmed on Vero that his plan was to do his version
wait. Did you say he confirmed on Vero?
Vero, that's his.
All right, I already checked out.
Okay, well, Vero, he used his. That's his social media of choice. I mean, I understand that the ginger's into trends, but I'm into reporting fucking news.
It has tens of followers.
Did he report? Did this make it on Google Plus too?
So he confirmed on social media that his plan was to do version of Injustice in the movies that pitted an evil Superman against Justice League in a dystopian setting. I mean, the movie I watched was already a fucking dystopian setting, so I mean, you didn't really.
Also, did you see what else he talked about? There's a fan rumor that one of the, I forgot who it is, one of the guys in the show was secretly Martian Manhunter, like in disguise. Yeah. And he's like not denying it. I'm like, fuck you. It's not. It's not. It's not. But
it's so not.
Yeah.
But I mean,
you know what? I wish they would release his cut. No. Just so we could be like, look, it's shit. Fuck you. Stop talking about it.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think it is because Zack Snyder is incapable of keeping a movie contained to just the story.
Right.
When it comes to DC, he has to shoehorn every conceivable Easter egg and other character in it as possible.
If it's so good, then release it.
Yeah, I would like to see the cut, that I can go like download on fucking Pirate Bay or some shit, and just kind of watch
Vero.
it from there.
Yeah.
So
he's releasing it on Vero.
On Vero. Yeah, and fucking 10 people can watch it. All right, after a 35-year ban of cinema in Saudi Arabia, the audience was treated to a reopening of Cineplexes with Black Panther. Now theater owners have announced that Saudis will be treated to IMAX theaters as early as next year.
Shit.
Really fucking cool.
That is awesome.
I wonder if they're going to see Infinity War.
Yeah, I mean they saw Black Panther. Yeah. They got full release. It's not like Black Panther and that's it. It's just like Black Panther is the relaunch, and now you'll get all the awesome movies.
I wonder if that's going to seriously add to the totals, like the blockbuster.
It's not going to hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not going to hurt, but I mean, like these movies.
Absolutely they will. Yeah, I mean those will add into the totals. Yeah, I mean when they do worldwide release, I mean without question.
I'm talking about like you talked about Black Panther,
like a significant difference to the totals.
Yeah, like a significant difference.
Like China.
Well, I mean,
but
to movies that like Black Panther, which are like, all right, Black Panther, they did well, but I wonder if it's going to push it closer to that.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. What I'm curious is that, and I mean, I really don't know. First of all, what is the population of Saudi Arabia? And the second question is that since you've been away from entertainment for that long, are people like hungry to go into the movies? Or
I mean, it's
or
new.
is it something that's still kind of new and they're kind of like, when I get to it, I get to it.
Right.
Or is it something that's like this cultural phenomenon where they like pack theaters immediately?
I don't know how we talk about this without sounding like insensitive white people, but I would assume, like, if that's a new thing that's been banned and suddenly the band is up, like, wouldn't you want to take advantage of it?
Yeah.
What is so insensitive about saying that?
I don't know enough about Saudi Arabia to like speak to what happens over
32 million.
Yeah.
The population of Saudi Arabia is 32 million.
So
to say like
New York City 3 times.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So say like 7 to 10 million people go
at $10 a pop or whatever.
Yeah.
Their
What is-
inflation
not
is.
bad.
what is the population of the United Kingdom? Just out of curiosity.
I like this new feature.
Yeah, right.
It's like low budget Siri over here.
Yeah, right.
Or like the Joe Rogan podcast. This is what they do.
JB, what is the population? Searching.
Yeah, right.
Searching.
Of course, I fat fingered it, so I put United States instead of
Searching.
United Kingdom.
Searching.
Dead air, JB.
I know.
The show's almost over.
65.6 million.
Yeah. So yeah, you're talking about half the UK. So yeah, I mean, fuck. I'm sure somebody. I mean, however much they charge for a ticket in Saudi Arabia, you know, I mean, what it would translate to in US dollars. You know. So I mean. Yeah, I mean, fuck, I'd be happy with 10 million people going to see my joint for fucking $10 a head.
It's like 20 to 30 more $1 million
Right.
they had than they would have otherwise.
That's some movies' budget.
Right.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
That's cool, though.
No, hey, I think it's awesome, man. I think it's really cool, and we'll have to have one of those beer conversations one time about Saudi Arabia. I got a buddy of mine that actually has a lot of involvement in shit with that, you know, and we were kind of having a talk about geopolitics over dinner, and he was telling me that there's actually cool shit that's happening in that edge of the world. So
Cool.
really good shit. All right, Richard Donner says that Lethal Weapon 5 is moving forward and will end on a very dark and emotional note. We don't need this movie.
No, we don't.
We don't need this fucking movie at all. We didn't
too old
need
for this shit.
We didn't need Lethal Weapon movies past the first one.
Isn't there a TV show?
They just got progressively
The
worse.
TV show,
Just
the guy
fired their
who,
guy, yeah.
they fired their rigs and they brought in
Sean William Scott.
Sean
Yeah,
William
who's going to be
Scott.
playing an all-new character, which I'm pretty much sure is going to be the death warrant of that show.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he's a pretty funny guy.
Yeah, he's funny, but I mean...
he does the thing.
But here's
Yeah.
the thing, though, about Lethal Weapon. My in-laws actually watched that show, and I was like, can that be really good? And they said, man, it's a fucking funny show. It's like the original one. It's got jokey joke, but when shit blows up, they get serious and turn into cops and all that stuff.
And can he do that is my question.
And a lot of fan shit that I've read, they said the guy who plays Riggs on the show, like everybody was like shat on this show when they announced it. They said the guy who played Riggs was fucking awesome. He was
he was
really,
just an asshole,
really
apparently,
good.
yeah.
But he was an asshole. He had behind the scene problems, so they had to
too
run
bad.
him off.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, that's, I think that's, it's like anything, man. You got a show that kind of like, you know, especially a fledgling show like that, that's only maybe in its second season.
Yeah.
You know, and you go and replace one of the main components.
And that dude's not famous, so talk about like squandering an opportunity.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
That sucks.
I mean, it's like the Dukes of Hazzard, you know. Well, we can't negotiate with them Duke boys, so we're going to bring in Coy and Vance, their cousins, you know. Yeah,
That worked out.
yeah.
was awesome.
They were back through mid-season.
Right.
Yeah. Really fucking cool news here, and I'm liking the way this is shaping up. Burt Reynolds is in talk with Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He will be playing George Spann, the real-life rancher who rented his property to Charles Manson to use for his family.
Yeah.
And they're saying that this character that Burt Reynolds is going to play, the guy was around his age. He was around 80-ish. He was partially blind, and fucking Manson was hooking him up with fucking Nookie for the use of that property.
Is Margot Robbie in it?
Yeah,
This is it?
Yeah, this is the Manson family
All right.
movie, and this is who's been confirmed. Leonardo DiCaprio, he's going to play the main character. They say he's like this kind of like down and out actor that the times have changed.
Right.
And now he's kind of on the periphery of Hollywood trying to get back into parts.
Right.
He has his best friend who is also his stunt double, who's played by Brad Pitt.
Right.
Margot Robbie is confirmed to play Sharon Tate.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're in talks right now with Burt Reynolds, Michael Madsen, Kurt Russell, and Tim Roth. So, man, that's a
like,
fucking
Tim
serious
Roth is
cast.
in.
So the usual suspects.
Right. This
Yeah.
is it.
I love that in talks is used with Tim Roth. Tim Roth will appear in pretty much any Quentin Tarantino movie.
Oh, yeah, dude.
He'd come here if we asked him to.
Yeah, well,
If
if
Quentin was here.
Tarantino is involved,
Right.
yes.
Well, I think the other side of it, too, is, I mean, really the only true alumnus that he's really missing, I mean, if you can find a way to sneak Sammy J in there, I mean, that pretty much is kind of the roundabout of everything that he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Even
hey,
if it's just narration.
but it's
Yeah.
Quentin, man. I mean, dude, even bad Quentin movies have fucking great dialogue, and you just got to be in
love
for
it.
that, man.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm ready for that one.
And good violence.
At the end of his commencement speech at Kent State University, Michael Keaton reminded the graduates that he is Batman.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's fucking
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Every interview he's in, he was on Kimmel to promote Vulture. And he was like, man, this is great, man. You know, you're going to be the Vulture. You know, you were Birdman. You know, before you were Batman, you know, that was a tradition followed up by Christian Bale. He's like, dude, I'm Batman. I was just like, that's fucking awesome.
Bless his heart.
All right, the Losers Club receives another adult player to the club here. Stanley is going to be played by an actor named Andy Bean. He is the star of HBO's Here and Now and also appeared in Transformers First Night. He joins Jessica Chastain, who has been confirmed as Beverly. Bill Hader will be playing Richie, who is the character played by Finn Wolfhard, the little foul-mouthed fuck. And Bill, the main character whose little brother is killed, is going to be played by James McAvoy, which is fucking awesome.
I haven't seen the first one yet.
So
You
far,
haven't seen First It yet?
you haven't seen it,
Oh,
dude.
it's
It's good, man.
No, I heard I'm not a horror fan, but I really want to see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not jump out your pants scary. But
Yeah,
it's
that's what I
good.
hear.
It's a well done.
Yeah, it's a well done horror movie and really good. I mean, they had a pretty rock star cast named out here for who the kids wanted to play them.
Oh yeah,
and it's pretty. I mean, it's nowhere to this level. Those kids picked. Those kids had a fucking $32 million cast. Right. They wanted to play them, you know. But
Bill Hader though.
But Bill Hader was actually picked by another kid to play a different character.
Right.
And Bill Hader actually landed the Richie part, which Richie's basically he's an R-rated. he's got a typical 1980s George Carlin comedy routine mouth on him, you know.
Perfect.
So I'm interested in seeing if Hader kind of carries that over the adult version.
It's on my list right after Mudbound.
Oh God, my bad.
I know.
Great.
Artist Robert Vargas claims that he has had a meeting with Universal about the Dark Universe, so apparently that's not dead yet.
Who's Robert Vargas?
They say he's an artist from Marvel, and they said they drug him in to do some kind of concept art. And he tweeted that he had a nice meeting with him and all that. I mean, really, honestly, I just found it surprising because I thought it was done.
Yeah. I mean, it always gets reanimated though.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've seen so many iterations of it with whether it's Underworld or Penny Dreadful, or which did I thought a great job. So I give that a little more latitude than a lot of other more recent franchises. You know, it's kind of evergreen. For
the benefit of Gary being here, and I've told you guys this a couple of times, but I've never talked about it on the show. I watched as soon as I got back from Disney, I started watching a whole pile of documentaries about behind the scenes stuff. And they say in that documentary, they say that the best conductor was Walt Disney. He had an eye for being able to take talented people and bringing them together to put this grand vision together.
Yeah, that's the job. Yeah.
I think that you got that with Kevin Feige, and you even got that with George Lucas. And I think the issue is all these people who do this shared universe, they're missing that element. They're all coming together to make their big franchise, and
you need that one guy.
You need that one fucking guy, whether it's DC, whether it's Dark Universe, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. If you have something that's built on a franchise, you got a guy that comes in and says...
An artistic director. You know?
Yeah, you need a guy that can come in and he can conduct the symphony and say, okay, look, if we're going to do movies about the Invisible Man and the Creature of the Black Lagoon and Dracula and Frankenstein, this is what the end game needs to be. And this is how you put all that shit together.
Right.
And
but
somebody who can
you need somebody who can watch the movie and say, nope, and this is how you fix it. And
yeah,
that's what they're good at.
I mean, dude, if you think about it, looking back at this whole thing with Marvel, just before this last piece of news, you look at this whole deal with Marvel, it's amazing that if you think about it, they've only really ever had one director controversy over Ant-Man, like a bad director controversy. And the only reason they had that controversy is because Edgar Wright had that movie in development for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Before Iron Man.
Right, before there was even an MCU.
Right.
So when they finally drug all that shit together and they told Edgar Wright, look, man, we want you to kind of play. He's like, well, dude, I don't want to do that. I wanted to do this thing. They're like, well, thank you for your services because we're doing this.
And you have to do that.
And you have to do that when you're putting that kind of shit together. So, I mean, you know, hey, look, it just blows my mind that for them, it just looks like it is so seamless. They pick people, they cast them, they put the fucking movie out, and even if that movie is not as good as something else that you've seen, it still jogs into their fucking universe.
Their worst movie is still pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know,
That's saying a lot.
but you know what I'm saying.
but-
Like, you know, even if you really don't like it, it's like there's enough there, and it's building to something else.
No,
Yeah,
it's like Thor Ragnarok. I fucking hated that movie, but watching it, dude. I mean, the imagery, all that shit. I mean, dude, the aesthetics of that movie are fucking awesome.
Right.
Really cool.
You would think after all these years, when you go, oh, we're going to copy Marvel, we're going to copy Star Wars, we're going to copy whatever with the shared universes, that would be the thing that they would copy.
that one dude. Well, I
That
thought they
one-
thought Zack Snyder was going to be that guy for DC, and it's the worst fucking pick in the world.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just doesn't have the
But
talent
even for
for
the
that.
other, for the monster chair universe, they didn't like. You want to do it, put somebody in charge and have them lead the way.
from the first
from the
movie.
and even if it is like Zack Snyder, where it takes it into hell, at least you got that one person to to lead the pack. They don't even have that. They just have
Yeah.
a bunch of randoms out there.
Well, and that's it. I mean, it's the whole thing. It's Mr. Conductor.
But my thing about that shared universe for the monsters was what were they going to do?
that's, to me, man, that's a fucking no-brainer. That's an absolute
Like
no-brainer.
Monster Squad at the end of the whole thing, or
Fuck,
like
dude,
I think it was Van Helsing.
That's
That
what I
was
would
it.
do.
Yeah.
The way that
Where he's the villain.
I would
Gotcha,
set
okay.
up the
That
I
makes
would
sense.
set up the whole thing to where when you're dealing with the monster characters, you build them on who they are, man. They're sympathetic
no,
villains.
I love
And
the
you
characters.
and you line up Van Helsing to where actually he's the motherfucker.
But here's the thing.
So when he goes to kick their ass, you sit there and you're like, dude, Van Helsing, you're breaking my balls.
It's like I Am
You know,
Legend
I
was
mean,
supposed to be, you know.
It's like Marvel Ultimates, right? Like it started with the Winter Soldier, and then that serum kind of went off, and something analogous to that.
But here's the thing. So first Iron Man, the after credit scene is like we're working towards this thing, and they put the Avengers in your mind so that
Yeah.
when you start seeing the
Right.
rest of the movies, it's like I know they're doing this because they're building to the Avengers. I
hope they're
But the
doing
Mummy
this.
didn't do that. It's almost like they needed the post credit scene to be like,
No.
"There's this Van Helsing asshole," you know what I mean? Just to like
Right.
to get you excited about it. Because right now it's like, okay, that was that movie, but now what? What's
And now
what's
we're
this-
not even going to use it.
right. You see what I mean? So it's like, what are we even building
Well,
towards?
And I think another thing, and I've seen this interview with Feige plenty of times, is he says, look, when we make these movies, he says, for the most part, when we launch a movie, we make it to where it kind of stands on its own.
Yeah.
We litter it with the shit that's part of the big universe, and he's right. Dude, you can watch Doctor Strange, you can watch that movie and not know a fucking thing about Iron Man or any of those characters. Now, the seeds are there if you've watched those movies. The mentions are there if you watch those movies. You could watch Captain America, you could watch the 3 Captain America movies, 1 through 3, and not watch any of those other movies and have a total understanding of what's going on.
Right, but the benefit they have working towards them is it's not that you don't know who Iron Man is.
Right.
So if he shows up, you have that. But with the Universal monster movies, it's like you might not. It's not as.
I don't
What's the
know,
word I'm
man.
looking for? You know who the monsters are,
I know
but
who
like.
the monsters are.
Yeah, but like if whoever you cast as Dr. Frankenstein, if he showed up in another movie, you might not know who.
Well,
that
they
is
did
right
it in the
now.
Mummy movie. They put Jekyll.
They did.
You
Or
know.
did they? I didn't see.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
I mean, we could go round about it, but it doesn't matter because they're.
I think that's a movie. It's really a shame that I think that it was the wrong guy. As soon as I saw who they put on there, I was like,
You mean Tom Cruise or?
no, the fucking dude who wrote fucking Star Trek Into Darkness. I was like, oh, that's the fucking dude who wrote that movie, and now he's going to direct this shit. Fuck, this is look,
Magic Blood.
yeah, that was pretty much a
We're not
floating
doing
turd
this
when
again.
I thought. So, yeah, we're talking about we're talking about the anecdotal evidence. There it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, look, all that shit aside, I mean, it's a matter of finding the right conductor
Yeah,
and putting it together. And I don't think anybody has been as successful with it as Marvel.
It's almost like the arrogance of thinking you don't need it when you really. I mean, dude, that's what I do for a living.
Yeah.
That's my job. If we bring in a director, I have to go sit at rehearsal and watch and give notes. Like that's what you do.
Sure.
That's their job. And if you don't have someone doing that, like some other theaters don't, well then it falls to shit. It just does.
And that's it. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. You need somebody that can pull it all together.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, personally, I'm hoping that eventually Feige gets the big promotion, and somebody at Disney comes to him and says, okay, look, kid, you've done a fantastic idea. You've got it all together. We've launched off this thing. You successfully pulled it off. Come fix Star Wars for us.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that happen. And there's some creeping rumors out there that he is highly interested in that Lucasfilm job.
Yeah, but then is it like a Joss Whedon thing where it's like, oh, Avengers, that was amazing. Come do these other things, and then it's not quite what you would. So it kind of tarnishes that dude's
19, 20 movies. I think that proves he could probably.
Yeah, but he's like, I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I wish him well in whatever
And
he
his
does.
future endeavors.
Yeah.
I mean, in a weird way, I feel like so much rancor is attached to the Star Wars franchise at this point that no matter who gets that job, part of what they're signing up for is to get shit on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think.
Whereas Marvel at least has consistency. He's been there from the drop.
From the beginning, so it's all his thing. He's
Yeah.
not having to step into someone else's,
But
and that's the hard
Exactly.
part.
But you seem to forget that when Lucas released those fucking prequel movies, that was toxic, extremely toxic.
Yes.
Now the nerd boys won't remember that shit now because it was all great when Lucas fucking ran it, but it really wasn't. So they brought back The Force Awakens. Holy shit, J.J. Abrams is going to take over. This is going to be fucking great. I mean, if you really think about it, we've only got like really maybe 2 movies that are in the shitter. Even people who are saying the same thing about Force Awakens, about any of it being the Disney Star Wars or any of that stuff.
Right.
Even with that, being attached, I think that Star Wars, it could be easy to the fan base is still there, and there's a dedicated fan base that's still there.
Yeah.
And if the word gets out that's saying, yeah, dude, look, this is the traditional mythic hero's journey of Star Wars that we love and remember, it'll get people back on board very quickly. It will.
Okay.
That's what I think.
I believe you.
No, I just,
No. I think.
I think we wouldn't have this discussion if there weren't the 3 horrible prequel movies. If they weren't, I think that's what really started the hate of those hateful Star Wars fans is those 3 movies. Because now the anticipation for when 7 came out, everyone was like, "Oh, it's got to be good. It's got to be good." The bar was so high because those movies were so low that when it didn't perform to those fans' expectations, it's all downhill at that
The
point.
only thing I think they kind of shit the bed on was they kind of let us know too much about Kylo Ren too soon.
Yeah.
That was always my beef with it.
know.
But this is like a whole. We've already done this show.
No, but I'm thinking also another thing with all this shit is moving forward is always better than moving backwards.
Yeah.
And the thing with it is that look, we're moving forward with Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia. Whether you love those things or hated how they executed it, it was still exciting to see those childhood characters return and move the story forward.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd like to see them do.
They just need to hand off the baton and.
Look, dude, I liked
Hand off
Rogue
the
One.
saber.
I loved Rogue One. I don't get it.
I liked Rogue One a lot. I really did. In fact, it's probably my 3rd favorite Star Wars movie. But this Han Solo shit, man, look, after this,
We'll know this
do
week.
something fucking new, man. Please do something new. So,
I'm ready for the Jawas movie.
Yeah, there you go.
Just 2 hours of Jawas.
you are listening to Popcorn, Piss, and Vinegar.
television.
Movies.
Pop culture.
Keep up with the latest news from Luke Skywalker all the way to Batman.
From Netflix to the CW.
And all the news in between.
Please subscribe and rate us on iTunes.
Or stream our episodes from ppvguys.com.
You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter at PPVGuys.
Check out our friends Not Real Radio at notrealradio.com for our segment Not Real Movie News.
Should you listen to more?
Yes.
Will you agree? Maybe.
Jury's out.
Indeed.
Thank you for listening.
And action.
Hey, so I saw Deadpool this weekend.
Yeah, well,
Oh, me too.
What I did not see Deadpool, so look, I'm going to throw this out here and then let you all have a quick chat. I have questions. Y'all can just answer them for me.
Okay.
Just do not spoil anything, please.
Okay.
Oh, it's gonna be so hard.
Just the quick news about Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2 is now the highest opening for an R-rated movie of all time. They typically add Thursday and Friday together to get that total. It has smashed everything, even the first movie. The only thing with it is that its opening weekend did not beat the opening of the first movie. It did beat it, but it hasn't beat itself, the first film. So now the highest opening for an R-rated movie of all time lists as Deadpool, Deadpool 2, and It, but Deadpool 2 holds the biggest opening night.
Right.
So that's basically the stats on
okay.
it.
I just
So-
think when the first one opened, there was such a
My theater was, I saw it, I went to the 10:30 Saturday morning show, and it wasn't packed at all. Like, I
Yeah.
could have sat
I went
anywhere
Friday
I
at like
wanted.
1 p.m. and it was a handful of us.
I went at 7 on Friday, and it was
Packed.
full enough, but not Infinity Wars full.
Oh, no. Yeah, there was no lines, no nothing.
Yeah.
I think Infinity Wars kind of stepped on its coat a little.
Yeah, it was really soon after.
It was.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
and then Black
Solo's
Panther
next
was right
weekend.
before that, and
Yeah.
so I do think there's probably blockbuster fatigue. I just don't think that people can get out that frequently.
Also rated R, though. It's also rated R.
That's true. I didn't feel the urgency I felt to see Infinity War.
Right.
Although I didn't want to get any spoilers.
Exactly.
But
Me either.
I didn't feel like I had to be there opening night.
Yeah.
Here's just a few questions that I have.
Okay.
Does the movie live up to the hype of the first one?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it better than the first one?
No.
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 Well,
it's tied.
It's tied.
There's-
it's a
different.
solid tie.
there's things about it that are better, and things about it I didn't like as much.
I'll give you the quickest answer to that, and I told Gary this. Deadpool is like teenage. Deadpool 2 is like mature teenager.
Okay. I really don't like asking that question because you can't really have something better unless the first one. I don't know. I try to appreciate everything
no,
for
you
kind
can
of what it is.
you can build on the
Yeah,
foundation.
that's
of the
what I'm
first
saying.
one.
Does it build well upon the foundation of the first movie? Is
Very.
really what my question. Very.
Very much, in my
Okay.
opinion, yes.
Wait,
Yeah.
Scott?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that it's like, oh, that's great because of the first movie. Like that paid off because of the first movie.
Well, yeah, it paid off because of the first movie, but I also think that it's a lot more. You know what? You know what's very similar to in broad strokes? Gremlins and Gremlins 2. I would say, like,
That's kind of wild because Gremlins 2 really is it's an underrated movie.
It's
and,
really-
and it's
it's
ve-
very meta and it's very anarchic.
it's
with
very
the world that
meta
they
and
create.
it's very different from the first movie. Do you find that is
It's not as different. It's very much in the same vein, but much more anarchic and a lot more fourth wall breaking. I thought.
The thing about the first one that
Yeah.
go ahead. I don't know how to
No, I think they, you know how he had left, the director left because they didn't want to spend money and they wanted it to be very.
Yeah, he was afraid that it was going to become too big, and there was something kind of charming about how kind of small the first one was, and like the simplicity
See,
of the first
that's
one.
a conflicting report because everybody said that Reynolds wanted to keep it low where Tim Miller wanted to kind of blow it up into more stuff. But it's conflicting. Then you get the
Whichever
opposite.
I would
way-
say whatever way, they definitely didn't.
It kind of met in the middle. I think.
They didn't. If it did have a bigger budget, which I'm sure it did, it didn't show it off. It was very conservative about.
Well, it's like they
did
showed it off in
tastefully.
other ways.
Yeah, maybe.
That
Well, in that first Deadpool movie, as good as it is, you can definitely tell that they didn't have budget on some stuff compared to other stuff.
I'll say this: the rewatchability of Deadpool 2, to me, I think is. I look forward to that more because
Yeah, me
Deadpool
too.
1, it's like once you've seen it, it's like all the romance stuff. It's charming and funny, and when he's
Right.
in the incubator, it's like, all right, let's get on with it. Like get back to the story. Whereas this one doesn't suffer from those expositional things.
But we don't have
No,
to at that
exactly.
point.
Yeah, which is nice. You know,
Deadpool. Hold on, I'm looking up the budget here on Deadpool.
2.
2.
Yeah, Deadpool 2. Or is this no? That's Deadpool 1. I'm sorry. Yeah, Deadpool 1 had a production budget of $58 million,
wow.
which is minuscule compared
Yeah.
to.
What is
This one was 100.
100?
It was 100 or more.
Hold on, we're gonna look right now.
And what's weird is like my only gripe about it really is some of the special effects were like,
A few.
Yeah.
I mean,
Budget on this one was $110 million.
Yep.
Wow.
So
Like
almost double.
the whole shtick that you see in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything with Domino.
Yeah.
Like all the Rube Goldberg mayhem that goes on around her was
Right.
bad.
Oh, I didn't think so.
I didn't think it was. It didn't
that
take me out of
bother
it.
me.
I thought it was comic booky.
There's only one
Yeah.
scene that kind of took me out of it, and I won't bring it up, and I'll tell y'all later.
I want to I kind of told you the thing, but I don't know if it's a spoiler or not.
What?
About kind of what my gripe about the movie was. It doesn't give away any plot.
Okay.
What is the main plot of this movie? Like what is a synopsis?
No,
like
you
I mean, is
should
it,
know.
no, but I mean, my question is that
Cable comes. To get the
he's
kid.
just there. He's just there to beat Cable's ass, or
It's hard to say without giving some stuff away.
Right.
okay,
Like,
all right,
yeah.
I got you.
But it's a
I
genuine.
would imagine that Cable is here for a purpose, and basically,
You know what it is? It's the Terminator.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, you can extrapolate it from the trailer. It's
Okay.
very Terminator-esque.
how much connect? And these are things that you can mildly spoil for me. How much connection is there from Cable being a Summers kid? Being the son of other X-Men characters. None at all?
No, it doesn't really come up.
Doesn't come up at all, huh?
No.
No.
Because you all know his
No.
story, huh?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's
I know-
Cyclops' kid, right?
Yeah, but he's from an alternate timeline.
Right. No.
Yeah.
No. It's no.
But
No,
there
they
there
don't.
is some intimated connection to. I can't get into it because it's a theory that's on like Cinema Blend and stuff that adds up, but that gets into spoiler territory.
Yeah, he's the child of Scott Summers and Jean Grey, and what happens is
It's barely there. Let's put it that way.
he gets and I don't know how much of this is in the movie, but he gets something that's called a technovirus. And that's what kind of turns him into a machine. And they send him into the future so he can try to heal himself.
Yeah, nothing like
Yeah,
that.
so none of that shit's
No, no,
spoiled in
I'll
the
say
movie,
I
okay?
don't think this is a spoiler.
Or even highlighted in the movie.
And I'm interested to see, since I told Scott, I'm like, I hate that Chris hates jokey joke things, because now whenever I hear a jokey joke, I'm like, fuck, I wouldn't have thought of this, but now I know Chris, and now I think of these things, and I'm worried that Chris isn't going to like the movie.
No,
you know
no.
what I mean?
Here's my thing with Deadpool, a character like that.
No, and I get it.
That character I have no problem with because he is self-aware that he's in a movie.
That was kind of a non sequitur to the point I'm trying to make, and this is what I told Scott. I think that the humor in the first one was more effortless and more free, as far as like, let's do 10 takes of this, we're going to take the best take.
Right,
Whereas
right.
in this one, I felt like they were trying to write a lot of that.
Yeah.
And it seemed a little forced to me. At the beginning of the movie, I was like, oh, right, they're trying to remind us how edgy this is.
I also-
That's
and it's
fair.
making me really uncomfortable. And then it stops and just kind of eases into and then it's like, oh, great. But there was a chunk in the beginning that I'm like, I don't know about this. You know.
Yeah.
There was one thing that I didn't really
That's a
like.
fair
It's,
criticism.
What's his name? TJ.
Yeah, T.J. Miller.
T.J.
TJ
Miller.
I didn't really like his parts.
He was
felt
so
forced,
good in the first one.
Yeah, right.
And in this
Right.
one, it's like,
kind of sterile and kind of like, oh yeah, I got that.
I was
joke
like, are
the
you not
first time.
into it? Like,
I
it just
also
felt
feel like
people-
I also feel like they may have cut his parts down. in
He's been
post.
going off the fucking rails with everything. that
yeah,
is,
but I'm like,
so-
okay, so were they trying to play it safe and cut him out of the movie a little bit? But I'm like,
I don't know.
he
I
was
feel like
so
maybe.
integral to like the style and the humor of the first one, and in this, it's
Yeah.
kind of like he's kind of neutered a little bit, you
Yeah.
know. So,
That may have been a decision made after the fact.
yeah,
Maybe.
You know,
but it's
Maybe.
unfortunate because he
It is.
brought so much to that first one.
But
Yeah.
if he weren't in this movie, I would have actually probably could have. It wouldn't have mattered to me.
okay.
But there's some genuinely funny stuff in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like
How
laugh out
are
loud.
how are the action scenes? The action scenes are as good as they are on the first
I
one.
like, yeah, I had a
Yes.
great,
Yeah, that's one thing I liked about the first movie that I thought was really well done. I like the fact that it was a lot of humor and a lot of dick jokes on Volume 11. But what I really liked is the stylized violence. It was fucking great.
Well, that's the other
And
thing
that's-
too. In the
that's what I
beginning of the
love about
movie,
it.
it's like with the jokes, it was like, look how violent this is, and it's like, all right, it is violent. I'm not someone who's like, that's unnecessary violence, but some of it, I'm like, I mean, it's kind of a lot, you know.
Yeah.
But they settle into it. I don't know. It's like they were trying to like force remind you of some stuff that I
mean,
just didn't think it was necessary.
What I think makes it so great is you think of a character like Deadpool who has a similar power to Wolverine where he can regenerate.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, will you ever see in a movie where Wolverine will take his 3 claws, cut off his own hand, and leave it with a middle finger?
Right.
You'll never see that.
Right.
And,
Right,
and
right.
that's what I thought.
There's
was
there's some
Just good shit.
truly wonderful surprises in it. Of course I'm not going to ruin it, but like so much fun stuff, and you're not even expecting, and then suddenly it's like that's a great thing.
Do they
just-
put any cameos in the movie or things that are like from left field? In other words, is there a cameo from
Yes.
a superhero character or something like that where you sit there and say, this motherfucker doesn't even belong here, but Jesus Christ, he's here?
kinda, but
Kinda, sorta.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's you'll know when it
Superman's
happens.
not in the movie.
No, yeah, it's
Yeah.
Oh, no, I would
Yeah.
never expect that. I
There's
would.
there's a couple of fantastic character cameos and a couple of fantastic like actor cameos that are just
Exactly.
they're so unexpected and so
Left
fun
field,
that you're
yeah.
like like thanks, like it just. Remember how
that's
the
where
first
they
one, like
spent
little
that
things would
other
happen,
money.
and you're like, oh, all right. Like there was a lot of that. So
Is there any? I know that he digs on everybody in the movie. I heard there's a lot of fucking DC slaps.
Yes.
there's a lot of
There's a
Marvel
lot of
slaps,
Marvel slaps,
more than
too.
DC.
Yeah.
Is there any Disney slaps?
No,
No,
I think
no.
there
I
was
didn't-
gonna be one, and they made him cut it.
Yeah,
or
they
something.
made him cut it. They said that he put a real fucking edgy joke on Disney, but considering that there's going to be
Right.
that there's going to be, they're going to have to play in the sandbox together.
Right.
And,
Well, I'd heard that deal might be off, that Verizon tried to kneecap
Comcast.
or Comcast.
I don't know. I read something in Forbes, and I also read something in Business Insider, and they said based on what's going to happen, from what they're saying is anybody can come up with any fucking money they want. Disney's getting the deal.
Right.
Disney's
there's
pretty
a-
much like whatever money you gain and whatever they
Yeah,
get
'cause-
will cost you in lawsuits.
Yeah, and
Right.
there's a lot more. From what my understanding is that there's a lot more. It's more than money. It's a lot more political shit that's in play, and I totally believe that. Completely believe
Interesting.
Um,
Okay.
that. So
the end credit, the mid credit scene things are truly fantastic.
Yeah,
Really?
there is
They're the
no
best of
end
There's no,
credit
but
scene,
yeah, there's
though.
no very end one. I
okay,
was
so they
surprised.
just put an end credit in the very middle.
It's
Yes.
like the mid credit scenes, and it's
And
stay
that's
for
it.
that, and
That's
then
it.
that's it.
You
But
can split if you want.
Though they do play stuff from the soundtrack that I hadn't noticed. That's
You
really
didn't
fun.
notice?
Yeah.
I caught that.
No, I
The,
didn't.
yeah.
I thought it was
I caught it in the middle of it, but I was glad to hear it kind of uninterrupted at the end.
Yeah.
I listened to some of the soundtrack, and what's pretty cool is the dude who was the composer for that movie used to be the guitar player for Marilyn Manson after Twiggy Ramirez.
Oh, well, shit.
So he's kind of like Danny Elfman. He was
Right.
a rock
Junkie
band.
XL?
No, not Junkie XL. I don't know this guy's name. That's the composer, but the guy who was the composer for Deadpool 2. There's a song that says "Holy shit balls" in it over and over.
Oh,
it's like
yeah,
an opera
shit
song.
That's the one we're talking
Yeah,
about.
he wrote the this guy was the composer for that, and he composed some other big time movie too. I just not coming to mind which one it was. But
It's a pretty epic moment when it occurs, and you have to
Oh, it's
really be
Tyler
listening.
Bates.
yeah, I learned that from Not Real Radio actually.
They don't
So,
they don't
see, I
shove
learned
it
something.
they don't shove it in your face. It's real subtle in the movie, but if
Yeah.
you notice it, it's great. But then in the end credits, you can hear the song,
Yeah.
and it's really good.
But you got to stay.
Yeah,
Mayday said it on their show, and I got to agree with him. They played a couple of clips from it, and very reminiscent of the kind of shit that Trey Parker and Matt Stone do for South
Totally.
Park.
Yeah.
It's these grand musical arrangements
Very good
and
music,
numbers
yeah.
that are explicit as hell,
Right.
so really cool. So,
I'm
did they-
excited for you to see it. 'cause
Yeah, me
it's very
too.
fun.
Did they spoil it for you?
no, they didn't spoil
Okay.
anything. They were really spoiler free. You guys have been spoiler free.
Good people.
I'm going to try to see it this week. Well, Han Solo. I don't give a fuck what I got to do to go see Han Solo. I'm going to see it, but
Yeah.
I'm going to try to catch Han Solo. I'm definitely going to catch Han Solo and try to like piggyback Deadpool into that. So some kind of way.
That's what I'm doing Friday.
So
Yeah, I'm just gonna see Solo.
I think I'm gonna see Solo.
text
on
me,
Thursday.
text me, and let me know what times you go. If I can sneak away, I'm going to try.
Yeah, I said
and-
I'm going to take the whole day off Friday. I want to see Infinity War again. I want to see Deadpool again, and then I'm going to see Solo. I'm just going to do a
That's
whole
a
day.
lot.
I want to do that too.
Wow.
It's my
Well,
birthday. It's my birthday this week. Y'all
wanna
got to
see
do
man,
Solo.
you
something.
should, man, you
movies
should
too.
take off and go with your pal Gary, man. That would be.
I'll wear
that
my
would be
AC/DC
fantastic.
shirt.
Wear it.
I should.
All right, well, let's wrap this up. Well, before we wrap it up, really quick, 5-star rating. What do we have for Deadpool? Each of you,
I'm going to go like 4.5.
4.5.
Because that first 10 minutes
okay?
killed me. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna say a solid 4.
A solid
stars,
4.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I'd say 4.5 to 4.75 because the little. Let me say that the little kid was the other thing that I didn't like. I didn't.
The main
little kid. Yeah.
yeah.
The MacGuffin, apparently, of the story.
The
And the little-
chubby boy.
Yeah, the little kid's the MacGuffin of the story. Isn't
Out
he?
of
Like,
5 stars, you get 4.75. That's
I really
quite good.
enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a funny. It did what it had to do. It was funny. It was violent. Ryan Reynolds was great. Yeah. I mean, if I gave
Yep.
Deadpool 5 out of 5, the only reason I give this 0.75 or 0.5 is
It's hard to like the first one was
Or,
so unexpected that this one has an expectation, so it's hard to live up to it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it pretty much does. Like It's like it just kept going. It's
Right.
great.
That's a good. Hey, that's a good rating.
Yeah.
It is.
Before we jump off here, Gary, tell us about the shows we got coming up, bud.
We just closed Little Shop yesterday. It was huge,
Okay.
so that was
Awesome.
fun. And Beauty and the Beast this summer.
Nice.
Come see it.
the tickets go on sale?
They're on sale. And we just added Mamma Mia to our schedule for next year.
Okay.
So let me ask you this: when you do have a show and it's huge, just hit for every showing, are you like, do we hold it over?
Yeah, the only reason, because we hold over everything. We held over Steel Magnolias for like 4 performances, and we're already adding
What
Beauty and the
happened
Beast
to One Man,
performances.
Two Government? Why didn't you hold that over?
We did. We added a show.
Oh.
Yeah, so there you go. But Little Shop was hard because we have our summer's crazy.
Okay.
And it's like we had to close yesterday because we have something in there next weekend. But also, like, we couldn't do 2 shows in a day because the puppeteer of the plants, it's like, I mean, that dude is like baked at the end of the show. He's
I
just
gotcha.
drenched. So it's like he can't do 2 in a day. It's too much work.
yeah, right.
But this one was like, it sold really well. We were really happy with it. So sometimes you just got to get in and get out, and
Well, that's
be
cool,
happy
man.
with it.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah,
and you
that's
can go
great.
to you can go to rivertowntheaters.com. That's either with the ER or the RE,
Yeah.
either one, and you can get
We
your
bought
tickets
both.
there. Not a bad seat in the house. I've seen a couple of plays there, and I'm telling you, we're just
High end
excellent
stuff.
We're very
Excellent
very
eyesight.
lucky, and we're very thankful for everybody who.
When are you
comes
going to do Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark?
the 5th of never? Right after we do Rent.
Yeah, right.
Well played.
Thank you.
Yeah, Spider-Man. Yeah, I value people's lives too much.
I'm just
to
gonna
put on
sell.
that fucking
I'm gonna sell
production.
tickets, and for 2 hours, we're just gonna dangle Scott from the ceiling. That's the whole show.
I'm in. Do I have to learn lines?
I'll
No,
give
you didn't last time. Why would I
Oh,
expect you to
there
do
it
it?
is.
I'll give you. I'll
There
give
it
you.
is.
I'll
That
give
was
you
a
10
lob.
extra bucks if you drop him. You don't have to hit the ground, but just like enough to
To make him
look like
to
he
make him
drops.
shit the costume.
Turn off
Yeah,
the
right.
ginger.
Turn off the ginger. All right, that's it. Anybody got anything to add?
Nope.
No, we're good.
No, 5 stars.
That was 100 years show.
Yep, that's it.
4 hours long.
Yeah, exactly. 4 hours long, and we're going to end it right now with 4 hours and 2 minutes. All right, well, look, we appreciate you guys listening. Please check us out at the PPV Guys group. You can jump over there and have conversations with us. We got people who have been pretty active lately, so just jump on, have a conversation with us, bust our balls. We'll bust them right back. So, also check us out on Twitter at PPV Guys. Also subscribe at ppvguys.com. We'd appreciate if you leave us a review. Review pushes us further up the chain, so we don't charge anything, so we ask that as a price. Please write us a review and at least just give us a 5-star rating. We
Or
really appreciate it.
4.75.
Or 4.75.
Scott.
Don't include fat fucking kids, though.
Can I say one thing?
What?
Instead of that weird song that you guys usually end with, can we play "She's Got the Jack" at the outro?
Holy. Yes. Yes. Sold. Well. Okay, never mind.
End scene.